Let your body eat your body fat.
Dr. Jason Fung is the world's leading weight loss expert and author of the Obesity Code, who shows us in detail his sought-after fat-burning diet that has helped hundreds of thousands of people to unlock natural weight loss. He also covers the myth of artificial sweeteners. Do they really work or actually make us gain more weight? The first food Dr. Jason Fung wants you to eat for fat loss is the one most people undereat, thinking it makes them gain weight. But it is actually a game changer for fat loss and muscle maintenance, as it increases the release of GLP-1, the very same hormone behind weight loss drugs like Ozempic and Mounjaro.
And these are going to be great because they're not going to raise your blood glucose. That's things like meats, beef, lamb, pork, veal, chicken, poultry, duck, goose, turkey, chicken, and then fish and shellfish as well. Tuna, shellfish, that kind of thing.
He especially recommends a certain type of protein for a big release of satiety hormones like peptide YY.
If you eat a giant steak, so you're activating all these satiety hormones, peptide YY, cholecystokinin, you're eating all this food, well, you may not be hungry for the next day.
Well, how much protein should we eat to secure satiety and keep on burning belly fat?
Protein is increased from 0.8 grams per kilogram per day to 1.2 to 1.6. The government is saying we should be eating more protein to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
According to Dr. Fung, these new dietary guidelines by the government are an excellent update regarding the daily need of protein. Make sure the protein on your plate is the size of your own palm. Apply this to 2 to 3 meals per day, and you will get enough protein to feel full and continue burning body fat stores. For effective weight loss to take place, our body needs to be in a low insulin state, and therefore all of the foods he recommends are targeted to bring our insulin levels low. The second food Dr. Fung recommends is aimed to help us silence our hunger through the activation of satiety hormone GLP-1. Dr. Fung says hunger management is actually the real key to losing weight effectively.
The fats and the meat were really thought to be causing heart disease and obesity, so they were heavily demonized. And it turns out that there was no evidence that this was true. GLP-1 is interesting because that's the hormonal system of Ozempic, and Ozempic really turns down the hunger, right? But the key is that you're not restricting calories, right? If you're restricting calories, it's very unsuccessful, and we've done that. So you could wire somebody's jaw shut. They did that in the 60s. They wired people's jaw shut because they wanted to make them lose weight, but they didn't. Why? Because they got hungry, right? They wired the jaw shut, they couldn't eat calories, then they got really hungry, and then they figured out a way around it, right? You'd take milkshakes and all this other stuff, right? Then in the 2010s, they're like, oh, I know, we're going to cut out somebody's stomach. That was the sleeve gastrectomy, the bariatric surgery. And it was also mostly a failure, right? We actually had high hopes for that as a medical community. But the problem was that if you looked at what they're doing is completely wrong, because again, you're pushing down the calories because you're surgically restricting calories, but then the hunger just goes up and up and up because you never dealt with the hunger issue, and they find ways around it. Again, they take milkshakes and they take, sweets and all this stuff, and then they regain all that weight, right? So the number of surgeries, the Roux-en-Y surgeries that is done in the United States peaked in 2010. So while the obesity rate went up, this so-called miracle cure for obesity just kept going down. The only reason is because it doesn't work, right? Now you get a drug that suppresses hunger, but not calories. The problem is when you go off of it, if you haven't learned what's driving the hunger, then of course the weight goes back up, right? But it's the hunger that's most important.
Unlike many other foods, which cause insulin surges and trigger fat storage, the protein and healthy fats enhance fat oxidation, helping your body melt fat 14 times faster. Unlike many other foods, which cause insulin surges and trigger fat storage, the protein and healthy fats enhance fat oxidation, helping your body melt fat 14 times faster.
From the other macronutrient standpoint, fat, you'll see that natural fats have been completely accepted as healthy. So whether it's fats found naturally in meats and eggs, or whether it's in vegetables or fruits such as olives and avocados, those are still healthy fats. A little small portion of, say, fish or beef or something that's cooked vegetables, avocado.
If you want to achieve your dream body and follow Dr. Jason Fung's weight loss plan to be fitter than ever, here's the big secret. You need to know what kind of carbs to eat and which to avoid. As his third food, Dr. Fung explains which carbs we need to avoid.
If you eat lots of white bread and white rice and white potatoes and refined carbohydrates make up the bulk of your diet, as well as ultra-processed foods, you're probably going to gain weight. In fact, because ultra-processed foods were not even really considered, it grew to almost 70% of the American diet. Americans didn't choose to eat more refined carbohydrates. They were told to eat more refined carbohydrates. It was the government policy and therefore dictated what doctors, dietitians, schools were teaching. It infiltrated all of the American diet, and we all paid the price with declining health.
Why do we need to avoid refined carbs, pastries, and sugar if we want to lose weight?
The problem is that these have a very high glycemic index, which spikes glucose, which spikes insulin, which then tells our body to store more body fat. Insulin is a natural hormone. It tells your body to store more body fat. When you eat, your insulin is going to go up, which is going to tell your body, hey, you should store some of this for later. That makes sense. When you don't eat, your insulin is going to fall, and your body's going to say, hey, you should release some of those calories you stored. So if you have too much insulin, it's going to tell your body to store more body fat. And therefore, this is going to lead to you eating more. How? Well, you're going to get hungry. Because if you think about why you eat, it's not all your own personal choice. You eat because you're hungry. And you stop eating when you're satiated. So satiety.
Weight loss, food number 4. Now, Dr. Fung explains which kind of carbs help you to keep insulin level low and burn body fat extremely fast.
Foods that are very low in carbohydrates include leafy vegetables. So arugula, kale, spinach, watercress. And if they're less than 5 grams of carbohydrate per serving, you can really eat as much as you feel like. All of these non-starchy and leafy vegetables are very low in carbohydrates. And there's lots to choose from: bok choy, bean sprouts, cabbage, carrots, and all that kind of thing. You should look at your plate and try and fill half of it with those leafy, non-starchy vegetables and half of it with meats and proteins. You can alter it according to your taste, but again, both of those things are either zero carbohydrate or very low in carbohydrates. Very low carbohydrate diets compared to a more moderate carbohydrate diet yield greater decrease in A1C, meaning your blood sugars are on average better, people lose more weight, and they use less diabetes medication. Why wouldn't everybody follow this very low carbohydrate diet?
And there are also many easy ways to make low carb diet and weight loss easier for yourself.
There are ways to make it easier for yourself. There are low carbohydrate starch alternatives. If you normally eat something on bread, for example, you could go with something such as a lettuce wrap. You can do that with a burger. Instead of having the bun, you just wrap it in lettuce. Many places will do that for you for no additional cost. You can do cauliflower crusts. You can do zoodles, which are the spiralized noodles. You can make cauliflower rice, where they shape your cauliflower in the same rice. And there are also things such as konjac noodles, which is a type of noodle that actually has zero carbohydrate. It's made of yams, sometimes called shirataki or miracle noodle.
Dr. Fung incorporates proteins into his fat-burning strategy, often pairing salmon with leafy greens or eggs with avocado. This not only keeps you fuller for longer, but also triggers glucagon release, a hormone that mobilizes fat stores for energy. Weight loss, food number 5. Have you ever wondered why you crave food even when you're full? Dr. Fung says hunger is a liar, and ginger helps silence it.
The ginger has lots of benefits in addition to the hunger management, because it increases the thermic effect of food and it promotes satiety. Here we have the meta-analysis, which shows the effect on hunger and satiety. You have less hunger, more satisfaction, you feel more full, and at the next meal, you will eat less. There is an overall beneficial effect on weight loss to taking ginger. And of course, there's really no risk. Ginger is a natural food.
Ginger raises the thermic effect of food, increases fat oxidation, improves fullness, and lowers ghrelin, your hunger hormone. Take ginger tea during fasting or between meals, and cravings drop dramatically. Dr. Fung also wants to bust a common myth regarding artificial sweeteners like aspartame, which are very common with people who want to lose weight and get their type 2 diabetes under control. Do artificial sweeteners actually work in weight loss?
They specifically call out artificial sweeteners and say that you shouldn't be taking sweeteners. And again, the scientific evidence is quite clear that eating artificial sweeteners does not cause weight loss. And they could be for a number of reasons, one of which is that the artificial sweetener is going to make you more hungry in the end.
The only acceptable artificial sweetener is stevia, which is a 100% safe option to dumb down those stubborn sugar cravings. Recap: ditch the processed carbohydrates and artificial sweeteners. Eat lots of protein, healthy fats, and leafy vegetables on your plate. If you're over 50 and serious about weight loss, watch how weight loss guru Dr. Jason Fung combines fasting with the 5 daily foods to burn fat faster than Ozempic.